Alrighty, folks. One of the things I love to do Sunday mornings is bring you new faces with new names and new stories. We've got one and only Jennifer with us this morning. He's going to talk about REOs and what's going on with foreclosures and bank owned and all of that good stuff. Jennifer, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing very, very well. So what's going on in the REO world? We've been promised this wave of foreclosures and 2008 all over again, but just curious what you're seeing and what you're doing today.
Well, you know what? I've been an REO listing agent for the last 8 years with the company that I work for. Parent company is Carrington Holdings or Carrington Mortgage Services. So some of you may know. And I've been waiting for it for a while too. I joined them in 2017 thinking 2019 there would be some, and then there was none. And then there was COVID, and then there's still none in Las Vegas. So that's where I am. I follow your channel. I've been listening to it for about probably 4 or 5 years. I moved to Vegas in 2020.
Nice.
And I was shocked. I still don't see that many in Vegas. However, I should say that I've only had 8 listings, I think, of REOs for myself here. That doesn't mean other agents in my office don't have them, but I didn't see any. So I ended up venturing to a different state to buy REOs because each state has different foreclosures. So I think Vegas right now actually has the most I've seen it in a while. And I say that there's a lot of foreclosures, and I think they're going to foreclosure. However, I don't know, because I don't buy here. I don't know if I spoke to someone who told me that about a year ago they went to the auctions and investors were overbidding. So I saw one, and it was in Spring Valley. I think the bank is willing to sell it for $126,000, and the ARV is $540,000.
Okay.
I want to go, but I don't even know if I want to waste my time, just because I think there's other people, since there hasn't been a lot of houses here, that other people will go and purchase it. So that's kind of where I'm at. It's a house that probably it's boarded up, and it will need probably $100,000, something like that.
Well, let's talk about the foreclosure process again. You know, I've been in that game. I bought some over the years. I kind of know what's coming. Where most of the fear monger and doomers are just completely clueless. But let's talk about the timeline first. So, and correct me where I'm wrong, Jennifer. If we're just mom and dad, Joe homeowner, and for whatever reason we need to miss some payments, we typically get 90 days before an NOD, notice of default, is filed. It doesn't have to be at the 90-day mark, but that's the first time, as I understand it, banks can file the NOD. That NOD, again, is a process. And then ultimately, assuming no connections, no modifications, and, all of those things, it could end up in a foreclosure, i.e. on the courthouse steps, probably best case 6 months, meaning the fastest. But in a world of modifications and this and that, it's not uncommon to see these, go back and forth. And I've heard stories about people with FHA mortgages getting 2 and 3 modifications. That's just the reality we've been in. I think a lot of it was because of COVID, bad behavior, bad policies, bad extend and pretend. I think that's ending. I do think there are more foreclosures coming, but I think it's going to be kind of like a speed bump. I think there's a lot of bad mortgages that should have been defaulted years ago that we just need to clean out of the system, right? If you're getting your 3rd or 4th loan modification, that house is too expensive for you. You got to get out, and this is how we do it. Are you kind of seeing the same thing, or where'd I go wrong?
You know what? There's no rhyme or reason. There's yes and there's a no. And I say this during the great financial crisis. After that, I did a lot of short sale negotiations. And usually the people who did loan modifications, I think the statistic was 70% would just default again. So it doesn't really matter if they were doing it, and back then was really slow. So what I've noticed in the last 2 years, and I'm in the Midwest purchasing foreclosures there, and I saw some FHA, and I do go after FHA, okay, and they're called claims without conveyance of title, CWCOT, and these were previous homeowners that got an FHA loan. I was shocked. Some I saw they bought it and moved in. I shouldn't say move in. I don't know if they moved in, but they bought it, and 11 months later, it was a foreclosure already. So I
Wow.
was looking at homes that are already foreclosed 11 to 12 months after the date that they got the loan to buy the property. So I was shocked. I was like, wow, I cannot believe it foreclosed that soon.
Hmm.
And then I have another person that I met. Well, it's actually one of my partners. He's my contractor, and we're trying to get him a loan. So the lender was pulling his credit, and they kept saying, "Hey, what's this foreclosure on his
Hmm.
credit report?" And then he would tell me, "Oh, that was something that happened a while ago, but the bank didn't report it until recently." I said, "Okay." So he couldn't buy an FHA a house with FHA loan until another year. So
Right.
on his credit report, there was a reporting of 2023 as a foreclosure. He
Hmm.
left his house in 2018.
Oh my
So
gosh.
even though he had it foreclosed in 2018, then COVID was 2020. The
Hmm.
bank didn't um, actually foreclosed until 2023. So I told him, I guess you could have lived in your house until
Yeah.
2023, but he didn't know. I think they left. So there's different places,
Sure.
different states. People actually move out when they're
Hmm.
foreclosed.
Yeah.
Uh, California, not the case. I'm from California, and people will stay there, hunker down for
Oh
as
yeah.
long as they can. So
Yeah, I remember California because that's where I was buying, and that's why I never bothered with a short sale during the crisis. Is um, the average foreclosure, or yeah, average median. Let's call it the median. The median foreclosure for California in the '08 crisis was over 1,000 days. That's 3 years. That's nearly 3 years, right? So you could live in your house for 3 years not making a payment back in '08, and that's why I think a lot of the doomers today that called for a 2025 housing crash because of REOs, they just don't understand the process. I mean, legally, it's the best case is 6 months, but in practicality, to your earlier point, it's 11 months, it's 15 months, and
yeah,
I do believe we have some FHA foreclosures that need to happen. I do think it's going to be kind of like a pig through a python, right? There's all of these dirty or bad loans from the last 2 or 3 years that need to be processed. It's going to make the numbers skyrocket, but then once they're done, you're to the other side. So I do expect more REOs and foreclosures. Probably it's going to probably be a story of Q1, Q2 of 2026. But I'm certainly looking forward to it. I talk to agents all the time. There's an agent in the Bay Area that said the other day, "Oh, I just got my first REO, since whatever 2015 or whatever it was." So I think they're coming, but it's a drip. But also if you're a doomer, you could say crazy things like foreclosures are up 150%. They've gone from 2 to 5. That's what we're talking about.
I mean, just I don't make predictions. I don't even know where they're going to come, but there are certain states that have more than others for whatever reason, and I don't care. You just do, So now I
Yeah.
just buy. I end up going to buy Indiana, and I think the conversation or the comment I had left was I I bought 15 REOs already since my first one was October 24th, 2023.
Nice. All
Yeah,
mainly in Indiana,
Midwest, Ohio,
Midwest, Ohio. Okay.
um,
Yeah.
Alabama,
Well,
Kentucky. So
nice. All right.
yeah.
So what are so I don't know the REO process in any state except California. It's the only one I'm familiar with. What's the timelines? Is it like what's the process in one of these other states? Is it similar or is it completely different?
So you have a judicial and a non-judicial state, right? And
Okay.
so, and I always forget which was what, but I printed a list and I follow. But in Indiana, if it's foreclosed, it's done. There's no what they call is it retribution or redemption?
Basically, yeah, redemption, right? Yep.
Redemption. So there's no redemption period. Michigan, on the other hand, this is what I discovered too from purchasing. Okay, so the house can get foreclosed, and I would do my research, and then all of a sudden I see it listed. So I'll call the listing agent and go, okay, did you know the property foreclosed? He's like, yeah, I know it foreclosed, but seller is still living in it and trying to sell it. I
Mm.
said, oh, okay. And he was like, very common. So they've been foreclosed. And then I called and when I purchase REOs, I buy it through the auction websites like Xome, Xome,
Okay.
auction.com or hubzoo.com. So
Okay.
I've made contacts there. So I'll call them up and ask, hey, why is this property still being able to list? And they told me, yes, they cannot enter the property until the 6 month is over, meaning the bank can't send anybody out there. So yes, that homeowner, because to me, I was thinking, if the bank owns the property, here's where it gets funny. If the bank owns the property, who signs the contract?
Right.
Right. And so I was going back, and then I think, but the banks do allow the seller to be able to sell their house, even though it's been foreclosed on. Okay. And so, yeah, because I was like, wait, this is wrong. That, so I'm learning every day about how this works. And so you just have to look at each state's redemption period.
I like
So
it.
I
Great
bought a
advice.
property. So I did buy a property in Michigan, and I didn't know, and I was ready to close, and they're like, "Oh no, you must wait 2 more weeks. Your redemption period isn't over." So we were in escrow, title was ready, had to wait for that time frame. And what does this redemption period mean? That means that the seller can still bring all the money in and get their house back. But
Yep.
based on these auction websites, what they tell me is it rarely ever happens. Because if that was the case, they should have done it beforehand. Why do they let it go to foreclosure and try to get their home back? You know what I mean? So it's very unlikely. But for me, I really don't want to buy a property that I have to sit and wait as well. I go to the properties like Nevada.
Yep.
I think it's done foreclosure. It's the banks.
Yep.
So yeah, so that's why you want to look at states, and then you look at states that easy eviction. So Indiana is one of those states where you go and you file a complaint, you have a court hearing, and they are out. I had that done in filed the complaint in like October 1st, hearing on the 17th. Judge says, "Did you pay rent?" She said, "No." "Okay, you're out on October the 25th. That's how quickly it was done. So yeah, and as you know, California, I follow the eviction rules. It's not a landlord friendly state. You have to now buy people out, even if you just want to ask them to move, to take your property back to give to someone. That's not even a squatter yet.
Yeah.
And so if someone's living there for 5 years, they may get $15,000 just to ask them to relocate. So that's California.
Absolutely. Well, this is a lot of fun. Auction.com brings back memories, because one of the properties I bought that was not on the MLS was from auction.com back in the day, was a duplex. And I don't think a lot of people who've turned into the auction sites, because it's been a while, but it sounds like it's time to go shopping, time to get educated. How would you recommend somebody who's interested in getting a deal, maybe interested in Indiana or Ohio, Alabama? How do they start figuring it out? Is there education, or how does somebody just whet their appetite?
For me, I always do things and then I share. So I do have a YouTube channel. It's very simple and basic because I still haven't figured out how to edit videos. So I just record. Okay.
Nice.
I think the content is just much better than trying to get so fancy. You know what I mean? So
I agree. Clearly, I agree.
Yeah. So for me, it's been doing and learning, and the key is just you have to do. So from start to finish, right? The reason, I guess, a little bit of background about me. I am a real estate broker licensed in Nevada and California. And I did own properties in 2005 to 8, and I lost 10 of them. So it was painful. So this time around, I always said, if REOs came back again, I would make money this time. And I didn't know how, but this is how. So I've been trying to buy and flip these properties, but after going through a few process and buying and flipping, it's not a lot of money, especially when you have commissions to pay. So it's buy and hold. But I've been doing the BRRRR method. So I basically pull out all of my money, and I still cash flow afterwards with 20% equity in the property. Okay. So, but the key is, like any property, you go research, and the reason your property did not show up on the MLS is because it was probably an FHA, VA loan. Okay, that previous owner took out that. So the auction websites are like, think of it as, they're like eBay, right? People think they go and they bid, and they're the highest bidder, they win. There's a reserve price from the bank. And so the key is, how do you know what this reserve price is? So most people here, they may, if you're not a realtor, you might use PropStream or something.
Mhm.
I have access. My title company provides me with what's called a property detail report. So
Sure.
in my videos, I show people if they want to get access to that, they can reach out to me. I can give the email, their name, and my
Wow.
company, which is Villa Title, will set them up with an account. They
Hmm.
can pull properties nationwide and get the property, basically the history, all the
Sure.
recordings.
Wow, that's very
So
nice of you. You haven't said your YouTube page. What's the title of the
my
YouTube channel?
name, you can
Oh,
look up. It's my name, Jennifer Saletto. It'd be
yep.
easy. If you search Zome.com, I think my video appears because nobody teaches about Zome. So I'm the only
Yeah.
one on there.
And Zone is with an X.
XOME.
Yeah, XOME, not
Zome.
Z. XX. Yep. Okay.
Yeah. Zome is owned by Mr. Cooper, which used to be Nation Star. Okay.
There you
So
go. Yeah.
they put all their REOs onto that site. So
Nice.
me, as when I was an REO listing agent, sometimes I get an REO from Mr. Cooper, and then
Hmm.
I have to also post it on there on the auction.
Mm.
Okay. But going back to these FHA loans, um, there is no listing agent involved. So then,
Yep.
therefore, you won't see those 5% buyer's premium. So people,
Yes.
so I
Yeah.
try not to buy 5% buyer's premium. Okay, it just
Of
adds to
course.
it. But also the other problem is there's no agent to let you in the house.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
However, I don't know. I know your channel is a lot broader than mine. I always go and view inside the property. How does that happen? Number one, I am an REO listing agent, so I do know how to get the combo code to get into the
Mhm.
house. Most people can't. But uh, in these states, like I said, these states that foreclose and the occupants leave, they do leave the doors open. So I'm
They
just
do.
gonna say,
I've seen them. I've seen it. Yeah.
okay, okay. So by saying that, I'm not saying break or enter, but you have to see what
Yeah.
amount of work is needed.
For sure.
Okay, so I search on the internet because in Indiana I'm not licensed there. I'm thinking of getting a license, but I will research and see if there was a previous listing with a photo, so I can
Oh,
see
good idea.
the floor plan. And if the home has not been listed recently, the most recent photos that will show will be the last listing.
Sure.
Okay, so then I buy properties, or at least when I do my property detail, actually before even pulling up the report now, I go and see, like Redfin will always tell you when it last sold and for how much, right
Sure.
on the Redfin, right? And if it says 2020 or earlier, that's a good property to look at. Why?
Mm.
Because everything after 2020 went crazy and all the values went up. So that means you have equity. So
Yeah.
I've been
True.
buying my properties at 50% on the dollar.
Wow. That is awesome.
Most recently, I calculated it was 30% on the dollar.
Who? Yeah. There.
So
Again, I think this REO space. It's really funny. I had a conversation with Pace Morby 4 years ago, and I said, Pace, you are about to have the wind at your back, the sunshine at your back. It is about to be the best time ever for sub 2, and it was. I'll tell you right now, Jennifer, this REO space, you are in not even the first inning. You are about to have 3 years of people finding you and learning about REOs because it's just started. It's like, I'm not even sure the national anthem has been played yet, if you know the sports analogies. Like, we're that early. So I would encourage you to keep going, keep documenting your process, keep being authentic, keep doing no edits. I think the raw stuff is the way to go. And I wish you nothing but the best because, again, just like I told Pace 4 years ago, I'll tell you right now, Jennifer, the next 3 to 4 years are going to be amazing for people who focus on REO. So keep it up.
well, it's been gone. No one even, all the new people who came into the real estate, like they haven't even heard what the heck. They don't even know what REO stands for.
Yeah,
So that's why
they read about it in a book 10 years
And
ago.
I had a meeting with Pace too. I'm in sub 2, and
Nice.
I remember we were speaking about 2.5 years ago. He said he would partner with me as long as we could find something 50% off. And at that time, I'm like, man, when I get these listings, these banks don't want 50% off. I guess retail. And I'm like, but now I'm like, yeah, okay. I felt like calling him. I'm like, never mind, Pace. You're busy. I'm busy too. We just go
Yeah,
our own way.
we got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to crush it. No. Yeah.
So, but when you talk about investing, again, the key thing is, especially if you're new, start off small. So if you
Yes.
mess up, it's okay. So my first deal was in Warren, Michigan, and I went over there because one of the tenants in the foreclosures that the listing that I had told me they had two properties in Detroit, and I was like, okay. She goes, I bought it for 15,000 and I make 1,800 a month or something like that. And I said, wow. And then she started to tell me, oh, in Ohio, I don't think home prices have gone up since I've lived there, as a child. And
Right.
I didn't know how old she was, but it would have been 20, 30 years ago. So
Sure.
when I started looking, I was like, $30,000 for a house. I was like, we're from California. I was like, what
Yeah.
the heck is 30,000? So that's how I jumped over there. And so my
Yeah.
first property I bought was 60,000, 3 bedroom, 1 bath in Warren, Michigan.
Nice.
And the previous owner bought it for 145. So why the bank sold it for 60, I'm not sure, but do I care? I got it for
Nope.
60.
Yeah.
The contractor, this is where I learned my errors or whatever. I had some partners because I don't live over there.
Sure.
The contractor said 20,000 for rehab, ended up being 40. And so even though we messed up, I still was under, and then we couldn't sell it. We listed it, couldn't sell it. I think I refinanced it at 146,000.
Nice.
If you know
Yeah.
the number, I bought it for 60,
Yep.
rehabbed it for 40. I
Yeah,
still
you're in
cashed
100.
out.
Yeah.
I think I cashed out at 70. So now
Nice.
we do Section 8 for 1,600. My
Score.
mortgage is 1,089. So that's the only one is Section 8. Everything else I do midterm rentals.
Okay.
So my ROI is almost infinite because I do sometimes get my money back for the furniture, so that I
That's
get
awesome.
everything out. Yeah. So then that's why I was saying,
Yeah.
if people don't, I don't buy where I want to buy. I buy where the numbers is right and there's jobs.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to throw out there. I just learned that, Meta is building a data center in Jefferson, Indiana. AstraZeneca is in Mount Vernon. This is Southern Indiana. So I'm going where
Nice.
the jobs are, and
Smart.
these homes are still under 200,000. So I think in
Nice.
5 to 10 years, it could still be 400,000. So I want to
No,
be going to an area that a lot of people don't know about, not go to an area where everybody's gone, which is
yeah.
everybody's gone to Florida and Texas. So
Yep.
then I would buy furniture, used furniture from all these other Airbnb guys who did rental arbitrage or something.
Yeah.
I'll buy for $2,500, drive it back over there, and
You're
that's the key.
amazing. Nice.
Finding your team. And so I have teams out there. I've never seen any one of these 15 properties of mine yet, but I know some people are scared. You got to have hand holding. So at the
Yep.
end of the day, I think the key was to partner with people.
Yep.
And also, you talk about lending. I follow lending all the time. My husband's a mortgage broker, so I know this whole side as well. But at the end of the day, you have to work with them, and then they see how good you are. Then you put less and less down. So I'm at 100% purchase now and 100% renovations. So
Score.
I have to put, I guess, the closing costs, and I negotiate with these guys. So it's just like,
Nice.
yeah,
Well, Jennifer, you're doing amazing things. I think again, you are in the right spot at the right time, doing the right thing. I know a lot of people in the ORAT family will be checking you out. YouTube channel is Jennifer Salato. Do I have that right? Or close? Stiletto. Darn it. Mispronounced it. I apologize, Jennifer.
You didn't say stiletto because that's
there's no T.
No T.
Jennifer, you're amazing, folks. Go check her out. Again, I think there's a lot of things coming. If I was starting anew today, I would focus here because I think there's a lot of opportunity coming, especially in FHA foreclosures. A lot of garbage needs to be rinsed out. Again, there's plenty of sites.
16% delinquency in FHA. I know you interview Melody Wright. I follow her as well. But if you're starting out and you can buy a property, I'm going to use numbers right now. I'm closing in, I already closed. Henderson, Kentucky, 3-bedroom, 1-bath. I bought it for $43,000. The ARV is about 140. Although sometimes the renovation, I always need a new roof or a new AC. But these homes they're older, but they're smaller, and then I'm going to turn around, rent it as a midterm rental for $2,300. You can also do co-living, $1,000 per room because there's affordable, workers, contract workers, they still need a place. So you can start off small, and if you have to put 20% down on $43,000, I think you can do it. You see what I'm saying? So you start small, and I don't think you could even lose because this is affordable housing. You're in the beginning. Somebody's going to need to rent your house. So that's why
Amen.
do a couple of that, and then you can. I'm at 15, but I go, this is my bread and butter. I make
Amen.
money off of this, so
Nice.
that's why I said start small.
Folks, go check her out, Jennifer. Go check her out. Thanks, Jennifer. Take care. Have a great day.
Okay, bye bye.